Okay, you loosen up this screw. His fluid was started a little bit, but of course I didn't loosen the cap up top yet. I'll do that. You can watch it flow. Let's see what this antifreeze fluid looks like. Of course, the car just hasn't been started today. But loosening this should get the flow going underneath. And there it goes. You know, there's a line up there if you want to get real fancy and hook a little hose to it. I'm talking tiny hose. Or just let it drain. Like I said, I bought this car, I think in April, it's now in July. You know, once I looked at those air filters, they were filthy. So they never changed the air filters, and it's time to change the antifreeze and the oil and just do routine maintenance once that air filter, or the fuel filter died on me. You know, $50 fix. You know, I can do this stuff myself. If you don't do things, you figure things out by yourself, you'll never do anything, folks. Get out and look under your vehicles and see what's going on and just try things. I am not a super mechanic, but I can figure things out. And I'm an old guy. A 20-year-old guy should be doing this stuff a lot. The only problem is how do you get rid of the fluids nowadays in this environmentally friendly world. But thumbs up, subscribe, share, and leave a comment. Okay, as I change out the antifreeze in a 2001 Mercedes SLK 320 hardtop convertible. I'm supposed to have 11, almost 12 liters. This is a bucket's about 9 liter. It's just dripping now, so there's probably still a lot in there. But I'm gonna put some cleaner water in to see if I can make sure I flush anything out. It's out of the ordinary. Then I'll put some new antifreeze in, and we'll close her up and take her for a ride. Okay, with the clear water I just put in, just going right through it. That's a good thing. Let's see if there's any crud on the bottom of the bucket. You probably can't see, but there's some crud in the bottom. Pretty easier to see if there's crud in the bottom of that one. I think I'll get one more bucket of water here and flush it through. Doesn't hurt to put fresh water through the system, and I'll close it up and I'll put the new antifreeze in. Okay, the antifreeze has been taken out. Mercedes. Yeah, I don't know if you can really see a little bit of crud in the bottom, but that's the main antifreeze there. And you see there's some crud in there too, but not too bad. And that's a lot of water. I flushed a couple of containers of that just through the system, so you can tell that's mostly 2 of those containers of water, and that's mainly the antifreeze. About 3 jugs of antifreeze. That contains about 9 liters, about 9 quarts. Supposed to be like an 11 quart system or 11 liter system. So we'll see how much it holds. Alright, changing the antifreeze on a 2001 Mercedes SLK 320. And antifreeze does matter. This is the Mercedes Xerox G05. It's a Valvoline product. This is a concentrate, so I gotta mix it with water, 50-50. This is what, 22 bucks? And I'll get the water out of the refrigerator. So as I'm draining it, people that are mechanics, count your blessings. It's a gift. You're like the doctors of cars. Of course, got to remove this cap, make sure it's not hot. I screwed up. I put the red stuff in, so now I got to drain it and flush it. But I put that in yesterday. $30 mistake. But better than paying a Mercedes dealer. You know, every time you take a car to a Mercedes dealer, it's over $1,000. And I changed the oil today too. So always do your research. And you know, YouTube is a great source of information. And I'll link all these videos together as it drains. To drain it, there's a rubber shroud that covers the whole front of the engine. There's this red valve right here. All you gotta do is loosen it up with a flathead screwdriver and let it drain out. When I filled it up with the red, it was 50-50, took 2 gallons. It says 11 quarts or 11 liters. Got it written down. Just let it all drain out. I'll flush it with some fresh water. And I'll put the right antifreeze in. The car's got 58,000 miles on it, so it's time. Those thumbs up, subscribe, share the information, leave a comment. Always do your research before you work. But if you don't do things, you don't learn. That's how you learn in life, folks, by making mistakes. Okay, as I'm changing the antifreeze out, more crud came out. As I flush out the red, which I put in yesterday by mistake, because color does make a difference. Need to put in the yellow antifreeze. I only had it in a day. Read all sorts of horror stories that it'll do damage. I guess it's an aluminum, you know, radiators are aluminum or copper. This Mercedes goes with aluminum. And you read all sorts of things. They may now go to blue antifreeze. What I'm going to do now is put just water in the spigot and then start the car up and just flush it for a little bit. Make sure it doesn't get too hot because you got to pay attention. You ain't exploding on you. But now turn the heater on and hopefully we flush more water out. Mercedes, and you got to jack the car up to get underneath it because it's a low car. I got to use the car jack it up a little bit to get my jack underneath it. That's why people don't like working on Mercedes. They're a bit of hard work. But I'm not a grade A mechanic. I can do things. That's the stock jack. But keeps you busy. Since I'm retired, I now have time to play. SLK 320. It's a V6 engine. Who knew it has 12 spark plugs? Unbelievable. But I'll pay someone else to change the spark plugs. But air filters should be coming in on Monday. I did the fuel filter, do the antifreeze. You know, I bought a car that's older, it's 23 years old, so it needs routine maintenance. Thumbs up, subscribe, share the information. Leave a comment. All right, first time owning a Mercedes. What have I learned? Well, I've learned to jack the car up. You start on this. It's down. This little finger goes in here, and when you crank it up, it lays flat. That's amazing. I can't get my other jack under there without using that jack first, because it's so low to the ground, my jack doesn't go that low. I've learned it's got 12 spark plugs on a 6-cylinder engine. Amazing. Spark plug wires, usually, you know, rubber on one end and rubber on the other end. It's got metal on the other end. Amazing. I just changed the oil. 8.5 quarts of oil. Most cars have 5. I did the antifreeze replacement. You got to be careful. Use the yellow antifreeze, because I did the red and had to change it out, and that takes almost 12 quarts, you know, for a V6 engine. Amazing. So 6 quarts of antifreeze and 6 quarts of diluted water. What I did was, since the engine holds most of it anyway, it takes about 2 gallons of diluted. I changed the fuel filter, which is on the passenger side, gas tank side, underneath in front of the rear tire. Watch my other videos, because it left me stranded because the fuel filter went bad. I don't like it. The idea it takes premium gasoline, but you adjust. It is a beautiful car. Stay tuned. I do have seat covers, even though the leather seats are fine on this car. It is a beautiful car. I paid $6,800 for this car. The original price is $46,000. In 2001, it's 23 years old. Gets lots of attention. People love this car because people don't realize the age. You should always crawl underneath the car. Okay, I changed the oil. The antifreeze. Right here is a little screw. You unscrew it to drain the fluid. Here's the plug for the oil. So you should always look underneath. I've got the rubber piece that goes underneath it, which you have a rubber plate here. And in the back, you got a rubber plate back there. That's where the fuel filter was. You should always jack up the car and crawl underneath and check the vehicle out. Again, this car is 23 years old. It's a beautiful car. But live and learn. It concerns me when it first, no one likes a car that breaks down on you. But, it's real light. A 6-cylinder engine. It's fun. Hard-top convertible that folds down into the trunk. Again, watch my other videos. I've got a lot of good videos on this car. I totally enjoy it, but you got to maintain it. Oh, what else? Air filters. I had to order air filters. $57 a piece at a Mercedes dealer. I think I went to eBay, got 2 for $28. Pop this off. You just pull on the back and then pull in the front. It's just 3 little clamps that go onto rubber booties. Not that bad. The fuse box is here. I did put it up for sale, but the resale values, you don't get a lot of resale value on Mercedes, because who buys these cars are the ultra rich. In 2001, this car cost $46,000. It's more or less a basic one, and they keep them for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and then trade them and get a new one. That's what the rich people do. Us normal folks, we can pick them up. Like I said, I paid $6,800 for this, $7,500 out the door with taxes and tag. And it had an engine light on, and it had some issues. So I had that engine light fixed. That cost me $1,900. They replaced hydraulics for the top, which it worked fine, but they leaked a little bit. So I had them do that, and what it was mainly a module. Also, I've learned, the plastics and the rubber in this car is not too bad. And this is 2001, but the more you tinker with this car, the older it is, the more stuff's going to start breaking. Little plastic pieces start breaking on it. But that's the rubber that goes on underneath the front. I just cleaned it off a little bit. And just before screws that are 8mm, so I'll be putting that on in a minute. But that's what I learned so far. It's a fun car. Gets expensive because like premium gas is an extra $1 a gallon, but it's a lot of fun to drive. Again, gets lots of attention. Drop the top, but it concerns me now. I took it on a 500-mile journey into North Carolina from South Carolina coast and back. And when I stopped to get Chinese food, it died on me, and I had to walk 6 miles home. Yeah, I could have got an Uber, could have called AAA. But I went back the next day and picked it up. It started, and I eventually got it home. And it was the fuel filter, because I've been starting it every day. Works fine now once that fuel filter was replaced. But thumbs up, subscribe, share the information. If you're thinking about getting an older car and you have some mechanical abilities, because anytime you take to the Mercedes dealer, it's going to be $1,000 or more. You know, changing the oil, typically it costs you what? Nowadays in 2024, it's $100. It'd be about $150. And 8 quarts of fully synthetic oil, and the oil filter's on the top. That's the oil filter. Put oil in here and a dipstick. Fill the antifreeze here. And you know, as I learned, I guess it's got an aluminum radiator, so you gotta watch what kind of antifreeze you put in there. Use yellow. I guess now they have blue. I guess you might get away with the green, but whatever's in it you should keep in there. So I changed that out since I've had it, because these cars, it's only got 58,000 miles, which means it was driven like 2,500 miles a year. So cars like this will sit in the garage a lot. Now I have it and I drive it, which is keeping miles down on my Tacoma. And also I learned I've got a car cover for it because it stays outside, but since I use the car and I take the cover off, put the cover back on, and it ends up scratching the car. And I got not the most expensive car cover, but the more you take it off, you roll it up, put it somewhere, and I get a little bit of dirt in there, and that gets in there and starts scratching the car up. But live and learn. Thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment. I recommend getting an older Mercedes if you have skills. And do your research. Lots on YouTube, a lot on the internet, and have fun with it. But would this be a primary car I relied on every day of my life? No. Great for a high school kid, college, fun second car? Yes. Car you have to rely on to get to work every day? I don't think so. All right, let's go underneath the 2001 Mercedes SLK 320 with the V6 engine. Let's crawl under here, show you. There's 4 8mm nuts that hold up this plate right here, this rubber protector. Gives you access to change the oil plug, and the radiator. If you want to change the radiator, it's just this plastic valve here. Loosen it, and the antifreeze can drain out here. Always make sure it's a cool system. This is the driver's side, of course, on the American cars. You should always crawl underneath and check out what you have when you buy it. I bought this car used, 21 years old. It's 23 years old. It's 2001, it's 2004 right now. But you should always check underneath the car. I'm pretty happy with it for the price. I can't believe these vehicles go for so little. 2-seat executive roadster. But it hasn't been really maintained all that well. It's hardly driven. 58,000 miles, about less than 3,000 miles a year. Closer to 2,500. And what it is, this will slide up here. And the screw holes will be wherever they match up here. There's probably one right here. And here. And in the back there's a couple will match up over there. Not very hard. They say that mechanics don't like working on German vehicles. Yeah, it can be a nuisance, can be an issue, especially this Roadster. But realize, brand new Roadsters, 2-seat convertibles are like $150,000 for Mercedes nowadays. And you go anywhere, it gets a lot of compliments. People don't realize it's 23 years old. It's 2001. One of the smaller ones, lightweight V6 engine. This is the perfect roadster. People like the Mazda Miata. Maybe. Probably the best deal I could have got with that was 2006 for, I think, $10,005. I got this for $6,800 and $7,500 out the door with taxes and tag. But thumbs up, subscribe, share. You know, lots of good videos on this. Check out my channel. Check out my other playlist. Is it worth getting a 2-seat roadster? I say yes. You can play with it. I'll be putting car seat covers on it next. I just want to put some color in there. The leather seats are fine on this car. You know, I guess you could wrap the inside. You can get the outside wrapped nowadays if you want to change the color. In 2001, it was like a $700 option to get silver. Unbelievable. But thumbs up, subscribe, share, leave a comment. Is it worth getting an older convertible? If you got the time and the money to play with it, sure. If not, anytime you take to a Mercedes dealership, it's going to be $1,000 at least. But I can change the oil. I can change the air filters. I can change the antifreeze. I can change the fuel filter, which is in the back behind the passenger side rear tire. The windshield washer fluid reservoir is inside this fender. You have to take the tire off, take the inner skin off to change the pump, which is embedded in the plastic reservoir. In this car, it's supposed to be a heated windshield washer. The technology of 2001 Mercedes was amazing. Does all that stuff work? I don't know. But, you know, nowadays you have OnStar, people have their phones and GPS tracking and all this. You know, this car had a button. If you broke down, you just hit the button and Mercedes would come help you. But I'm sure the $150,000 Mercedes Roadsters probably have a lot of new options that'll be on other cars in another 10 years. But thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment. I'd say, I recommend buying one. They're fun. They're not that expensive. Better than a Miata. I think it's a smoother ride. More or less you slide into it. Instead of the Miata, you drop into it. I'm also finding out 80-year-olds, since I'm retired, I'm in my 60s, 80-year-olds that are in fair shape, that have more money than time, are interested in a car like this. Because it's something they've always wanted as a kid. And now they're 80 years old and they have more money. They know they're going to die with more money than they know what to do with. Alright, this is the jack that comes with the car. Notice how this has a bend to it. How you jack it up, you start with this bend on the ground. As you tighten it, it flips over to the bigger piece. And I'll take it down, and you can see, if you can see, this is going toward the cement. If I jack it up, you can see this is laying on the cement. So I'm taking it down. Take it there. So let me take it down. It's a pretty interesting contraption. Gotta love German engineering. Okay, now you see how it's sitting here and this piece is jacked up, and this goes all the way, and you can see a little notch in there, and that's how you jack this car up. German engineering at its best. And you got 4 of those, 4 corners. That's how you jack things up. And underneath, if you can see a little rubber grommet right here, you get another jack under there. My hydraulic jack won't get that low. That's why I have to use this jack to jack it up before I get my hydraulic jack underneath there. Be nice to have a lift, but who has that? or you take it to a mechanic and you pay for their skills. Mechanics are very skillful people, folks. They're entitled to what they get. They're like the doctors for cars, but they're not cheap. My Cracker Jack mechanic gets like $125, $150 an hour. I never made that kind of money. But when you make that kind of money, you got to be good at what you do. Thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment. This is a Mercedes 2001 SLK 320, the V6 engine, lightweight car, big engine, 2-seat executive sports car, hardtop convertible. A lot of fun, gets a lot of attention.